Hello viewers, welcome to a lecture series on marketing management, and in this very series we have been talking about the concept of prosumers in 21st century marketing, and I have already given you the sufficient explanation to the concept of prosumers, what exactly we mean by this, what are the different related concepts of this particular idea of terming a consumer to be a prosumer, and we also had a discussion on the concept of consumer merchant and prosumers, and eventually we started discussing about the different theories and models of prosumers. And in that series I told you about the first very theory, that is the presumption theory, in the previous lecture of mine. Now I shall be extending my discussion on the subsequent theories and models. So in that line there is another theory called the value co-creation theory, and this theory actually talks about, it actually emphasizes, focuses on the co-creation aspect of prosumers. So it was actually contributed by Lang et al. And they actually discussed, there was a group of researchers with Lang, and they discussed the value co-creation theory, and they emphasized the prosumers active participation in the creation of value, that in what manner they are actually actively participating in the creation of value or in the value creation process. So prosumers, and here they wanted to say that prosumers do not simply consume what is offered to them, but they are actively participating in creating and enhancing the value of those offerings. So it means that I am not there as a taker of it, as simply a taker of a particular offered product, but I am there to evaluate, to examine, to analyze, to criticize the product or offerings which are coming to me. So suppose if my marketer is extending some offerings to me, and as a consumer I start giving my own ideas, I start communicating about what I felt after receiving that offering, then in that case of course I am not merely a person who is there to consume whatever is being offered to me, but I am there to make some active participation in not only creating but also enhancing the value of those offerings. So even if you try to eliminate one problem of a particular product, one mistake of involved into a particular production process, then of course you have made a meaningful change to the entire consumer's fraternity. And that is the beauty of co-creation process, and that is why we got a complete theory on value co-creation theory. So this value co-creation theorem, it actually underscores the shift from passive consumption to active involvement in product development. So you are no more a passive consumer, you have actually become the actively involved person into the entire production development process, and that is why you become a co-creator of a specific product. So this theorem actually illustrates the collaborative nature of value creation, where prosumers contribute ideas, they give feedback, and even at times they are giving they are putting some hard work into that, they are contributing their labor also, their times also, resulting in the products and services which are more closely aligned with their preferences and needs. So we are actually trying to align the products with our own preferences and needs, and once I start doing that, I become, unknowingly or unknowingly, I become a prosumer. So this model actually focuses on the collaborative nature of value creation. The entire focus is on value creation, that yes, I am going to create the value, I had contributed to the production development process, and in that way I have become a prosumer. So this is another theory in the line which actually focuses, which actually puts emphasis on the co-creation process, upon the contribution of a prosumer into the production and development process. Then comes the models. Now there are certain models also, and out of which the first and the foremost which comes to us is called PCFM model, prosumer creativity and focus model. So here, as the model name itself is indicating, our focus is on C and F, that is creativity and focus. So this model actually puts emphasis on creativity aspect and focus of a prosumer. So the prosumer creativity and focus model, actually it was proposed by Saran. Saran actually while proposing this model tried to establish a link, it actually links prosumers creativity with company innovation efficiency. So you are linking prosumers creativity with the company's innovative efficiency. So as a marketer, as a company, whatever innovative efficiency I have, I am trying to link that with the prosumer creativity, and this is what this model wanted to focus upon. And it says that the co-creation between prosumers, who are active consumers participating in the production process, and companies' marketing strategies, they bring additional value through creativity and innovation, because both the parties, their objective is the same. They want the value, some kind of value addition to the entire production process, and both are contributing in their own manner. So this model actually highlights the how prosumers creative contributions can drive innovative outcomes, and they may enhance market offerings. I would give you a number of examples to it in due course of our discussion, that these prosumers, their creative contributions, they are actually making meaningful change, they are having innovative outcomes and enhancing market offerings what we are getting. Another model in the line is called MOA model. It is another popular model given by Zhang et al. And this is actually an acronym of three important terms: motivation, opportunity and ability. So it combines these three words: motivation, opportunity and ability, and calls it to be the MOA model. It is actually a very popular, widely recognized framework, and it is being used to analyze and predict prosumer behavior. So if you want to analyze and offer a prediction the way these prosumers are going to behave, this model can be of immense help to you as a marketer. So this model examines how service attributes influence consumer response in peer to peer accommodations through three significant interrelated factors, that is called P2P, peer to peer, and those three important factors are motivation, opportunity and ability. Now let me first tell you about these three components one by one. How do we define motivation here? So here the motivation refers to the inner drivers which actually forces, which actually instigates, propels prosumers to engage in service activities. So what prompted me to assume the role of a prosumer? I was happy consuming a particular product. So what prompted me to, what was that inner urge, what was that what actually ignited me to assume the role of a prosumer, and that is called my motivation. So I wanted to engage in service activities. Why? So that is called motivation. That was the inner driver of mine which actually urged me, which actually instigated me, which actually ignited me to engage in service activities. And these motivations can either be intrinsic. For instance, I can have some intrinsic motivation, for instance personal satisfaction and enjoyment, that I am doing it for my own satisfaction. I feel that there is a flaw into a particular product design. Why not to improve that? Why not improvise it for a larger set of consumers? And the second one is extrinsic. For instance, I want certain financial awards, and for that I am doing so. So intrinsic and extrinsic both can be present. Some of us, those who are assuming the role of a prosumer, some of us we are doing it for our personal satisfaction or for our own happiness, for enjoyment, and some of us, they are doing it for some financial rewards or some financial gains, if I would say it would not be wrong. So that can also be a motivation. So in the context of peer to peer accommodation, the economic motivation plays a greater role, significant role, as prosumers seek the financial benefits by sharing their resources. So I would say that extrinsic factor, that is called extrinsic motivation, what you call as financial reward, that actually motivates in greater proportion as compared to the intrinsic rewards. As we all know that nothing motivates like money. It has been an established and very popular statement whenever we talk about motivation. So that financial gain is something which is more igniting, more propelling for the consumers to assume the role of prosumers. Then comes opportunity. After motivation we get opportunity, and this opportunity encompasses the external contextual elements which either constrain or facilitate prosumers' ability to provide services. So either they constrain or they facilitate. Now you must be thinking why these two opposite terms are there. The contextual elements can either constrain us or they may facilitate us, our ability to provide services. So technological advancements, for instance, online platforms, there are certain number of online platforms. I won't name any one platform, because that would be a kind of biasness that would actually emerge like a biased situation, but they provide necessary infrastructure for prosumers to offer their services. And additionally, financial capital and available resources, they are very much crucial in enabling those prosumers to actively participate, to actively engage in the sharing economy. That is something which we have already discussed. So this is actually emerging as an opportunity for us. So that motivation, of course, we have understood, then comes opportunity. So because of thanks to the technological advancement, thanks to the proliferation of ICT, that we are able to engage in the sharing economy. Then comes ability. Suppose I am motivated and I have an opportunity, but am I able to do that? So this ability pertains to the skills and knowledge which prosumers possesses. See, I am very much willing to contribute, but I am not able to. I am not having that skill set which is needed to contribute, to make some meaningful change into that product design or into the service delivery system. Then of course I won't be able to do that. So here the role of ability becomes very important. Even if the first two components are present, the absence of ability is going to make the outcome to be zero. So this ability pertains to the skills and knowledge that prosumers possesses, and it enables me as a prosumer to deliver services effectively. And prosumers service knowledge, for instance, understanding customer needs and managing shared properties, significantly it actually impacts the quality of service provided. So if I am able to, if I have to give an example, I would say the ability to manage these aspects effectively is very much essential for maintaining high levels of consumer satisfaction. So am I able to contribute significantly to this entire process of service delivery, or to this entire process of product design? That is something which is going to decide my contribution. So studies which are utilizing the MOA model, they have revealed certain insights into prosumers' economic motivations. They have talked about service flexibility, they have talked about knowledge levels, and thereby enhancing the understanding of prosumer consumer exchanges. So they are actually very well, they are defining the prosumer consumer exchanges, that if you have all three sets of components available, that is MOA, motivation, opportunity and ability, then of course you can transform yourself into a very successful prosumer. You can contribute significantly to this entire process. The research conducted by Zhang actually demonstrated that prosumers' economic motivations, for instance service flexibility and service knowledge levels, they have distinct effects on, they have diversified impact on consumers' transactional based and relational based participation. So there are two types of participation, one is transactional based, another is relational based. So I am contributing due to some relation, or I am contributing for in order to have some benefit. So that is something which is going to decide the extent of my involvement. And here the moderating role of shared property management, it was found to amplify the attenuate or attenuate these effects, providing a comprehensive understanding of how prosumer contributes in attributes influence consumer responses. So we have to understand, my dear learners, that the way these prosumers are contributing, these are actually demonstrated by these models. So these models are basically the guidelines. They are telling us that in what manner this entire concept of prosumers is being transformed into a reality in 21st century marketing. Now, after having a discussion about different theories and models, one question comes in our mind: what these different theories and models are saying. If I have to conclude, if I have to brief, if I have to summarize them, how would I draw some inferences out of this entire discussion? I would say that these theories and models, they clearly delineate the role and characteristics of prosumers. They are actually taking some of the theories, they are having one aspect to be very prominent, others are taking some other aspect criteria, but in one way or the other they are able to define, very well define the very concept of prosumers and their contribution to the entire process. So, they are showing how prosumers' involvement in production processes transforms them into vital partners in the value creation chain. So, if I have to define the role of prosumers, I would say that in this entire production process, whatever transformation you are bringing, that is actually your that actually that can be termed as your vital role, vital partnership in the entire value creation chain. You are fostering innovation, you are doing some kind of personalization, you are enhancing customer satisfaction, you are becoming a party to that, and that is why you are being called as prosumer, because since you acted as a consumer, you are active, you are an active consumer, you could feel the pinch of the problems which are there into a particular design or into a service delivery mechanism, and you gave your suggestion, you actually contributed, you did your bit, you contributed your own ideas, you gave there, and you could transform the entire process by becoming a vital partner into the value creation chain, and you fostered innovation. So, this is what this entire concept of prosumer is all about. So, the integration of prosumers' creativity and active participation with companies' strategic initiatives, if we combine them together, they actually result into a co-created products. So, at times you are finding co-created products and services which better meet consumer demands, and they actually drive market success. So, if somehow you could, it is just like reaching to the consumers directly, or involving, bringing the customers to the entire process, to the entire product designing and service delivery process, bringing them close to that entire process and then making some modifications. This is what all these theories and models talk about. Now, when we extend our discussion on the topic of prosumer, there is another dimension of it. What are the different facets of prosumers? So, facets of prosumers, role understanding, the multifaceted role of prosumers in modern economies. It involves certain activities, it involves certain processes, like you have to examine their behavior, you have to examine their relationships, motivations, characteristics, and also the concept of prosumer capitalism. So, we have gone to that extent that now we talk about the concept of prosumer capitalism. Imagine that since 1980s this concept was there, but it is only with the emergence of ICT that now we are able to term it, we are able to come to the level of the concept of prosumer capitalism. And these facets actually provide valuable insights into the dynamics and impact of prosumers, how impactful they are, what are the dynamics of the concept of prosumers. That all is being covered once you start examining their behavior, their relationships, their motivations, their characteristics. They all make you able to understand how this entire concept of presumption works. So, prosumer behavior in various fields you would find, they engage in distinct actions and activities, and you can classify them into mutually exclusive categories also. Prosumer behavior is broadly classified into several sets, and I would name some of them, like self production, P2P trading and sharing. There are six, they are six in number: self production, peer to peer trading and sharing, and then collaborative creation, that is called co-creation, and knowledge creation and sharing. So, self production, P2P and sharing, collaborative creation, knowledge creation and sharing. So, these are the different facets of it. So, if as I told you at the very outset about self production and consumption in certain sectors. So, prosumers, when they are engaging in production primarily for their own usage, we call it prosumer, we term them to be prosumers for self production, blending production and consumption in a self-sustaining manner. And I gave you the example of producing something, some agriculture, cultivating some agriculture produce only for your own consumption, driven by your personal satisfaction rather than community sharing. That is the best example, and that is why it comes as a facet of the entire idea of prosumers. Then comes self production and consumption in certain sectors. So, this form of prosumption highlights an individual's approach to food production and consumption, as I told you. Then comes peer to peer trading and sharing. So, here it is being defined as a situation where the significant activities for prosumers, especially in the energy sector and digital currencies, you are using it. In the energy sector, we all know that prosumers, they are generating power, they are generating their own electricity, and for instance, the solar power, I gave you the example at the very outset, and they are selling excess energy via community networks. So, this is called P2P trading and sharing. So, you are trading, this trading not only enhances energy efficiency, but it also promotes sustainability, because you are integrating decentralized renewable energy sources into the grid. So, you become a generator of power into this entire value chain. Then comes, there are a number of examples to it. I would not go into the great detail of that, because we had already discussed the concept. Then comes collaborative creation, that is called co-creation. Here prosumers, they are engaging in collaborative production, where they work together with others to create a particular product and services. And I gave you example of the art and craft, where the art and culture activities, you are actually doing that. And in 3D printing, we are finding this concept to be very much popular, very much prevalent, wherein people who are expert into that, they are making use of it. Then comes knowledge creation and sharing. I gave you example of teaching community, the education sector, where people are actually assuming the role of knowledge creators and sharers. So, students utilizing digital resources and platforms, it is actually a big transition from passive recipients of teacher centered instruction to active creators of knowledge. You become the creator of the knowledge, you contribute to the body of knowledge. Earlier you were having a role of a user, and now you have become a creator of that particular knowledge. So, these were certain things which I tried to present before you. Then comes prosumer relationships. This relationship actually involved dynamic interactions between prosumers and companies, as well as within the prosumer communities. So, they are characterized by certain important drivers. They are being called as collaboration, trust and mutual benefits. Of course, once you are collaborating, the trust and mutual benefits are the prerequisites. Unless you have faith, or you are not having some mutual benefit, if it is not creating a win-win situation, then of course then it cannot sustain for long. Because as a consumer, I have different other tasks also to perform. So, why to get involved into a particular production designing process and then contributing to that particular process when I have no benefit out of this. So, not everybody is going for social welfare, or even if they are willing to, they are running short of time. So, in the context of energy prosumption, for instance, I gave you the example that from community groups to enhance efficiency and reliability in energy provision. So, we have to understand that there are two types of motivations, one is the extrinsic, another is intrinsic. So, intrinsic is having a limited role to play. It is the extrinsic one which is actually the financial gain, which is there to sustain for long. So, if I have to for consumers, if I have to provide a list of the key drivers, there are 6 key drivers which prevail in their presumption decision: economic benefit, actor self efficacy, perceived risk, specific assets required, perceived opportunism and monitoring of providers. So, these are 6 key drivers which I could find in the literature related to the concept of prosumers. Now these motivations are there, and they are actually contributing to the entire value chain owing to their own motivation. It may be intrinsic or it may be extrinsic. Now coming to the conclusion of this entire concept, where we have to understand what are the opportunities which this entire concept of prosumers or presumption has created, and of course the challenges which are there. So they can create value in various fields in different ways, we all understand. So from the perspective of economic development, technological innovation, and of course the environmental sustainability, these prosumers, they have immense power to bring more creative and efficient solutions to various industries, and that is why they are very much, they have becoming popular day by day. Each day we are finding their relevance to be increasing. So of course these prosumers, they are playing a critical role in the sectors like energy, education, agriculture, and of course the art and fashion industry. So they are acting as engineers, they are valuing technology, they have become green users, prioritizing sustainability, and of course they have also become the value seekers because they are focusing on economic benefits. So my dear learners, the opportunities are immense as consumers and producers transition to prosumers. There are certain opportunities which are significant, there are certain economic benefits which prosumers can achieve. There are they are reducing dependence on traditional utility providers, and they are lowering monthly expenses. There are different other benefits, of course, since their entire idea is more sustainable, it is environmentally sustainable. That is another benefit, that is another opportunity. It is resulting into community building and social benefit, another opportunity. And of course, when we talk about the marketing opportunities, it is full of the opportunities there. Kotler has identified several significant opportunities for companies leveraging consumer network, and they include development of innovative marketing strategies which directly involve prosumers feedback, and it can actually lead to more engaging and effective marketing campaign. So my dear learners, owing to these opportunities, this topic, this entire idea, this entire concept has become a buzzword in the corridors of marketing. Of course there are certain challenges, but we are confident that we will be able to overcome them, and of course there would be a situation where the entire marketing may undergo a metamorphical change, and we may go for co-creating a particular brand. With this, I am concluding this very topic of mine. Thank you so much.